Okay. Hopefully I am live. Am I live? Update. Okay. Yes, I am live. All right. So let's get started. The Monday masses. So let's discuss the third house. What is the third house in astrology, Vedic astrology, whatever astrology you follow? But some of the things here, I've known through Vedic astrology, so that's what we're going to be studying here today. So third house, what is the third house? Third house represents younger siblings and siblings in general. Third house represents communication, speech, your ability as in your athletic abilities, your ability to work out, it pretty much represents your courage, ability to use hands to do something, like punch someone. So third house also represents hands. Hands, shoulders area is represented by the third house. Third house represents short distance travel. Third house actually represents long distance travel as well. But those long distance travel are for self purpose, not for purpose of God, not for purpose of some higher and divine. It's for your own ego you travel long distances. Why? Because third house is directly opposite to the ninth house. But one thing you also forget, third house is fourth from 12th house. That means the karma of your long distance travel are sitting in the third house. Because 12th house represents foreign lands, far away lands, places that you're going to migrate to across the sea. Well, the karma related to is fourth from itself, right? From my previous videos. So third house represents long distance travel. Third house represents writing, journalism, arts, media, creativity, performing arts. It represents roads, like the street. Seventh house, the sign of Libra. Actually, it's seventh house, and the third house represents roads. And I believe it was Das Gurvani who once said that seventh house represents roads that you see, that you travel on. And also seventh house is travel as well. So that represents that. Third house also is known as the house of dictation. In Sanskrit, I think they call it Updesha. And it's about teaching something. It's about dictating something through your communication. That is also third house. And you don't have to be some spiritual sage to, give updesh. You give updesh to your younger siblings, to your friends. Third house is also friends. You give updesh to your children, meaning you teach them something. You show them the ropes. You show them the way, how to do certain things. So that is the third house. Then third house also represents the gain of your family's wealth. The gain of family's wealth and the gain of your wealth. How does wealth come in? Second house, right? But third house is a house of efforts. You put your effort. So when you make money, what do? You put effort. How much effort are you putting in to dig that money out? That is the third house. Third house, as I said, besides everything else, represents, your siblings, your close neighbors, your aunts, uncles, cousins, the people that you know in your inner circles. Third house represents moving away from home. Third house represents moksha for your mother. Third house represents instability of the mind. Like, when you feel unstable, depressed, you go crazy, that's the third house. Third house also represents gains of your children, especially of your first child. Hopes, wishes, desires of your first child is seen through that. Third house also represents jobs, career, especially government jobs, higher type of jobs. Administrative work is third house. Professional debts is third house. Emergencies, life and death scenarios, occult, mysticism is the third house. Third house represents your father-in-law. Third house represents the gurus, teachers, and counselors of your spouse. So whoever your spouse is, their teachers and counselors are seen through the third house. Third house represents transformation and death of your in-laws in general. Third house represents spouse of your guru. Not father, spouse of your guru. But also third house represents spouse of your father as well. Why? So there's a little thing that I learned from Dr. Urjan Pai about this third house thing. Third house is actually the house of mother. Fourth house is the house of mother. Fourth house is the house of the mother when mother is pregnant. And mother is nurturing you, taking care of you. She has you in her cradle. I think my wife just arrived, that's why dogs are barking. And then your mother becomes the third house when you grow up and you go on your own. So like right now, I'm an adult. I've got my family of my own. But my mother still comes, cooks, does everything. We love her food. Addicted to her food actually. The greatest chef you'll ever meet. Probably that's why I have those genes. She's now my third house. So if I want to see about my mother, I really have to see the third house more than the fourth house. Fourth house is when I was living under her umbrella, in her, in her uterus. And when I was out, but still, I was depending on my mother till like age of 13, 14. Then after that, you start getting more independent. You become more rebellious, of course. Everybody becomes rebellious against their parents at a certain age. But third house is the mother. Third house also represents deaths, sickness, and illnesses of your bosses. And even your coworkers, but mainly bosses. Third house represents children of your elder sibling. So if you have an elder sibling, the third house represents children. Now, if let's say you have a best friend who you consider as your elder sibling, or somebody in your life you say, oh man, this guy is like my elder brother, or this woman is my elder sister, then third house will become their children for you. You can't escape. The third house will represent the type of people you'll run into who will have these type of children, you will consider elder sibling. And third house represents the storage of your spiritual karma. Third house represents storage of your moksha. What can lead you to moksha? That's the third house. Why will you travel to foreign lands? That's the third house. Why will you go to hospital, asylums, some confined space in your life? That's the third house. So this is how you study and understand the third house. So obviously, this is the third time I'm repeating this, but if you know exactly why I came up with all this information, then you pretty much know every single house, because this is the concept known as Bhavat Bhavam, or some call it Bhavat Bhavam. But also there's some additional information that you learn about the third house, like I just told you, what I learned from Dr. Urjan Pai about the mother, because especially when you are doing nakshatra reading, or I'm like, sorry, not you, but when I'm doing nakshatra reading, I'm also now looking at the third house as well. Or like, let's say I do Pai Paddhati. To understand Pai Paddhati for the mother, I also look at the third house as well. and you can see a lot. But remember, fourth house mother is only the mother till you're under her umbrella, under her domain, which is the fourth house. Once you go out on your own, third house also becomes your mother because, well, I like I just explained, third house is directly opposite to this ninth house of father and gurus, so it becomes the spouse of father. But also there, I forgot the analogy that this is actually was given to Dr. Arjun Pai by A.V. Sundaramji, the great astrologer A.V. Sundaram. I'll ask him, why is it that third house is the house of mother? But Dr. Pai explained to me very well, and I just remembered this part, but I really forgot what the actual meaning was. But it is there. It is there. Okay, so if you want more information, you can contact Dr. Arjun Pai, A.V. Sundaramji if you know him. But I'll make an explanation in my fourth house one, in case if I remember. I'm trying to remember. Let me see if I can call Dr. Pai. Well, no, it's too late in India right now. I don't think I can call him. Nah. He'll probably be sleeping, man. So anyway, this was the third house. And remember, also third house represents social media, internet, online entertainment. You know how I entertain you and you roll on the ground laughing and looking at me? That's third house. Fifth house represents cinema, higher of the third house performance. But third house represents like television, online entertainment, any kind of like nowadays YouTube becomes a huge platform for entertainment. So that's also the third house. What else? Cell phones, smartphones, communication devices is a third house. So especially if you see the planet that rules the third house, what sign they're in, what planet is sitting in the third house, it'll tell you the type of smartphones and communication devices you're attracted to. That's very, very, very strong giveaway. Like if somebody's calling you, you can, if you rent Prashna and saw the third house, you can ask him, hey, do you have a red colored cell phone right now with you? Or do you have a brown color or maybe a black color? It'll help you a lot. Okay. So anyway, guys, I don't know what else I can say here. Why is my comment screen stuck? Okay. My comment screen is frozen. Why is Mercury retrograde all the time for me? Oh, I think I need to get a professional broadcasting software. Well, this is a professional one though. There's another one. I think that one is like $700 software where I can actually plug in my 4K camera and present this in the 4K. Actually, I want to get a 6K camera. They're coming out, Canon, with a 6K DSLR camera. Because the thing is, I want to shoot my Ketu movie. I'm deciding if I should shoot it in a regular HD or 4K. So if I have to shoot it on a 4K, I have to get a new camera. But then Canon is coming out with a 6K camera, not just 4K. So I'm like, should I wait for it? Should I? Because I do want to get a new camera because my older camera is just acting up now. It's been what, like 3 years since I've had that camera. So anyway, guys, we'll talk to you later. This was the third house. Next week we'll cover fourth house. Bye-bye.